Welcome back to Harry Has a Cocktail, the show where I make a cocktail and then drink it. This is episode 47. Today I'm bringing you a drink called the Obituary. The Obituary Cocktail, I found it in my 3-ingredient cocktail book by Robert Simonson, which is a book I use here a lot on the program. But oddly, I couldn't find a lot of history about it. So I'm just not going to give you any. There will be no boozy lore for this episode. Well, who knows? Maybe there will be some boozy lore a little bit later. The reason I wanted to bring you the Obituary Cocktail today is that Olympia Dukakis died. And I'm not really a person who goes in for, sort of posting long elegies on Instagram about celebrities when they pass away. Plus, I haven't really met, a lot of celebrities. I've met a few. There was something about Olympia Dukakis dying. Sean told me the other day, and I went, oh, that's a tough one. It's a weirdly tough one, right? Because she's been in so many different films and TV shows. She was in the television miniseries Tales of the City. She played the character of Anna Madrigal. She just always struck me as the perfect choice for it. And also, come on, she had so many amazing lines in her career. The line in Steel Magnolias when she says, "If you can't say something nice about anybody, come sit by me." That by itself would be enough. So whenever we found this out the other night, Sean and I decided to watch Moonstruck. And of course, if you haven't seen Moonstruck, what is your problem? You have to see Moonstruck. It's one of the best comedies of all time. A romantic comedy. And of course, Cher plays the lead. Olympia Dukakis plays her mother. Two of the best lines. At the beginning of the movie, Cher is in love with Danny Aiello's character, Johnny Camilleri, right? Johnny Camilleri, I'm pretty sure. She's engaged to him. And Olympia Dukakis asks, "Do you love him, Loretta?" And Cher says, "No, Ma." And Olympia Dukakis says, "Good. When you love him, they drive you crazy because they know they can." Then later, Cher falls in love with Nicolas Cage's character, who is Danny Aiello's brother, Ronnie Camilleri. Camarini? I'll make sure and put the correct one up here at some point. So she falls in love with Ronnie, and they get engaged at the end of the movie. Olympia Dukakis once again says to Cher, "Do you love him, Loretta?" And she says, "Yeah, I do, Ma. Something awful." And Olympia Dukakis says, "That's too bad." Just the best. I also just want to add some quotes from Olympia Dukakis. I was reading her obituary, actually, in the New York Times, and there were a couple quotes here that I thought were really, really special. The Toronto Sun asked her in 2003 if she planned on retiring, and she said, "From what? I love this chaotic, contradictory, loving mess that has been my life. As an actor myself, I can attest that sometimes it can be a real mess and quite chaotic, but also quite lovely." And then finally, she reflected on her success in a 2001 interview with the London newspaper The Guardian. She said, "Maybe good fortune comes to you for the same reason as bad. It's all about understanding more. You learn a lot of things when you're struggling, and other things when you're what the world calls successful. Or perhaps it's just something that happens. Some days it's cold, and some days it's hot." It's certainly good advice for actors, but good advice for everyone, I think. Anyway, I came across this cocktail today, and I thought it would be nice to present the Obituary Cocktail in honor of Olympia Dukakis. May you rest in peace. So, here is what goes into an obituary. First, we have gin. I'm going back to an old standby here. Bombay Dry Gin. It also has dry vermouth, using some Noilly Prat from France. I'm almost always using Martini and Rossi on here, but my husband bought us some French vermouth. Definitely has a different flavor from Martini and Rossi. This is a good time probably to mention the fact that if you do imbibe cocktails with vermouth, definitely change them up every so often. All vermouths are not created equal. Let's put it that way. They definitely bring out different notes anytime you use a different one. So test them out. I've used Martini and Rossi, Noilly Prat. You're such a Noilly Prat. It's so odd that it's a French vermouth because it sounds like something a Cockney person would call another Cockney person. You Noilly Prat, ya? I don't know why I felt the need to clean my ear during that. And then I've also used, what's that other one called? Can't remember. Anyway, the third ingredient is absinthe. Vieux Carré. Vieux Carré. I haven't used absinthe a whole lot in a lot of cocktails here on the program. The last time I used it actually was in episode 35 for the Sazerac. Love a Sazerac. Before that, I hadn't used it since episode 4 for the Corpse Reviver. Go back and check those episodes out. If I can figure out how to make that little thing go across the top of the video, to direct you to episodes 4 and 35, I'll do it. Otherwise, I won't. It is going to be garnished with lemon twist, and we're going to mix it in a mixing glass. Let's get right to it. Here's how you make an obituary. First, fill your mixing glass with a crap ton of ice. Now, we are going to add 2 ounces of gin.
1, 2.
Next, we are going to add 1/4 of an ounce of dry vermouth.
1/4.
Finally, we are going to add 1/4 of an ounce of absinthe.
1/4.
Now, stir the crap out of it until it's ice cold, about 20 to 30 seconds. Okay. Now, strain it into a chilled coupe glass.
Ooh, it's so chilly. Ooh, it's a nice pretty green with the absinthe.
And finally, we are going to garnish it with a lemon twist. Express yourself, express your twist.
Express. Run it around the rim. You can do whatever you want with it. You know, you can drape it if you want. It's kind of be fancy. Or you can just drop it right in. But let's be fancy. Now, let's try the Obituary Cocktail.
To you, Olympia. It's so different. Essentially, it's a gin martini with a hint of licorice in it. You gotta like black licorice, though. One of the things that I found interesting about approaching this drink is that when I make a martini, as you've seen, when did I do that? Episode 40, episode 42, 43, 44, 45, I think? Anyway, I do a ratio of 2.5 ounces of gin to 1 whole ounce of vermouth. And then I do a couple of dashes of orange bitters. If you remember correctly, and why wouldn't you, because I just showed it to you, it's 2 ounces of gin with only 1/4 of an ounce of vermouth and 1/4 of an ounce of absinthe. I saw a couple of recipes when I was looking around for this that definitely changed the ratios of things. I think I saw one that was 3/4 of an ounce of vermouth and only a bar spoonful of absinthe. A little bit of absinthe goes a long way. And as I said before, you have to be at least tolerant, if not completely enjoy black licorice. I mean, would you say that aniseed and black licorice are essentially the same? Are they the same? Maybe slightly different. The more I taste this right now, this reminds me of, you might know that I'm Italian, and my mother, my whole life, has made pizzelles, which is, I don't know if you've ever had a pizzelle, but I'll try to find a picture of pizzelles and put them up here on the screen for your viewing pleasure. That's a pizzelle. And I used to help my mother make these all the time for special occasions, especially Christmas. It was one of the main Christmas cookies she made, and they are made with anise. And for whatever reason, the Obituary Cocktail is very much reminding me of a pizzelle. A lot. I guess what I'm saying is it's reminding me more of anise than it's reminding me of black licorice. I'm not a huge black licorice fan. Like, I generally don't eat a thing of black licorice. I'll eat a red licorice, but not a black licorice. I don't know. It's just not my preference. But this is really bringing me back to those days of sitting in front of the pizzelle iron, you know, scooping it on there and putting it down. It's like an old waffle iron, and you know, when they're really super thin and crispy pizzelles. Oh my God, they're amazing. If you haven't had a pizzelle, you gotta have a pizzelle. What I'm loving is that it's reminding me of my Italian heritage. It's reminding me of Olympia Dukakis playing an Italian mom, which she wasn't Italian, by the way. She was Greek, pretty sure. But who cares? I don't think Cher was Italian either. Who cares? Doesn't matter. They're actors. They made a great film. So I wouldn't say this is sweet. No. There's maybe a hint of sweetness if you find black licorice sweet. Is black licorice sweet? Is anise sweet? See, anise I find to be more of a savory kind of flavor than sweet. So anyway, it's a nice sort of slightly sweet, slightly bitter, slightly savory cocktail. Kind of sounds like a good description of Olympia Dukakis, wouldn't you say? Sweet, bitter, Italian, savory. Actually, now that I think about it, it sort of describes me too. Anyway, all right, enough of this ridiculousness. Ridiculous. Thank you, Olympia Dukakis, for the years of pleasure you gave us in all of your films. Big props to you, wherever you are now. Thank you to all of you for watching Harry is a Cocktail, and we'll see you back here next time. Cheers.